Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. March 30th, if you remember, was the Ram Navami Day, where incidents of violence were reported from West Bengal, Maharashtra, Telangana, Gujarat during the Ram Navami processions. But coming to West Bengal, the situation seems to be going out of hand. It all started in Howrah, in Hooghly, and now there are fresh clashes reported from Rishira and Serampur, where we are told that BJP National Vice President Dilip Ghosh and Pursura MLA Biman Ghosh were present. Biman Ghosh apparently has got injured and hospitalized. So the larger questions which we are going to raise in today's debate is that why has Trinamool Congress not been able to contain this sort of a violence? Is it some kind of a communal game played both by Trinamool Congress and BJP for political gains? And the larger question, of course, is that why are these religious processions being weaponized and why are they becoming a source of communal tension across the country? I'm joined by a very special panel. Let me introduce them to all of you. We have BJP leader from West Bengal, Tathagat Roy, who's the party spokesperson as well. Thank you, Mr. Roy, for joining. We have Chandra Uday Singh. He's a senior lawyer from the Supreme Court. And let me tell you about Chandra Uday Singh that he has written a report recently titled Roots of Wrath, Weaponizing Religious Processions, Communal Violence During Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti. So it will be interesting to listen a lot of things from Uday. Thank you so much, Uday, for being here. We have political analyst Sanjay Rana with us. Sanjay, thank you so much. We have Samir Purkaista, the senior editor with the Federal, and we have Trinamool Congress spokesperson Shubhankar Bhattacharya. Thank you, Shubhankar. Mr. Tathagat, I would really want to know from you that the allegations against BJP are, and what Mamata Banerjee repeatedly has been saying, that, you know, these gundas from outside, these are extraneous elements who are vandalizing the state, who are vandalizing the religious processions, and the ball is in BJP's court. That's what Trinamool is saying. What would you really say to this?
Why are these allegations of Mamata Banerjee, why are gundas being brought from outside? You see, all said and done, everything, the bottom line is that everything concerning law and order is the state subject. And that is something about which the state leaders, Trinamool Congress leaders are very zealous. So now why are they trying to disown their responsibility? Particularly in view of the fact that in Howrah, where this trouble started, last year at the very same locations, during Ram Navami, the same time of the year, there were disturbances. There was a fracas. So in view of what had happened earlier, what they should have done is they should have received intelligence inputs and they should have they should have had a larger police presence in the place. They didn't. From the videos that we got or we saw, what we observed is that the police are simply bystanders and pretty afraid bystanders. They are not taking any action, very far from it. On the other hand, the mobs are quite active. They are throwing stones and that sort of thing. So why is this intelligence failure or deployment failure? If this thing had been there in the greater police presence had been there in the beginning, then the whole thing could have been nipped in the bud. Why was it not done? I don't understand. But there is a political reason behind it, which is being said in the political circles in West Bengal, and that is this: that Mamata Banerjee is extremely worried that her Muslim vote bank is slipping. Very recently, there was a by-election in a place called Sagar Dighi in Murshidabad district, which is a solidly Muslim majority area. And in that, Mamata Banerjee's party was defeated. So in view of that, Mamata Banerjee is very worried and she is trying to polarize the Muslim vote by letting a danga happen. Meanwhile, she will go on with the litany that BJP is dangabaj, BJP is dangabaj, BJP is dangabaj. But the question will always forever remain, why did she not deploy sufficient policemen? knowing fully well that there had been a fracas last year.
Does it, Mr. Roy, does that mean that you're giving a clean chit to BJP, that there is no fault of BJP? It is only the failure of Mamata Banerjee government? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that is what I'm saying, because law and order is a state subject, Mamata Banerjee subject, and whoever gets killed, whether it's the Trinamool or the BJP, whether it's the Hindus or the Muslims or Christians or Jains, the job of the bottom line, the job of maintaining law and order is in the hands of the state government, Mamata Banerjee, who is the police minister also. Why didn't she deploy? Now,
but Mr. Roy, are you going to absolve BJP from playing its communal card in West Bengal for purely political gains? It is trying to play the communal card, and very openly it is doing that with no remorse.
To begin with, you have to look at what started this fracas. What started this fracas? It is known that Ram Navami is a sensitive time. It is known that that area is sensitive. So why did they let the Ram Navami procession come that day? I have even heard lies being mouthed that they were coming there without permission. If they were coming without permission, then they should have been stopped right at the beginning. So what BJP, I'm not absolving anyone, because I said that I'm not a BJP spokesperson anymore. But what I can see with my naked eyes is that the way this thing has been handled leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Why was there not a greater police presence?
Okay, Mr. Roy. I'll let you go because you did request that you don't want to sit for long. But thank you so much for joining. But it would be nice if you can continue for a little longer. But
I'm sorry, I have this problem, you know.
Okay, Mr. Roy. Thank you so much. But now I'm going to go to Shubhankar. Shubhankar, what would you really say? I mean, what Mr. Roy has said, that it's a pure intelligence failure on the part of the Mamata Banerjee government to contain law and order, to maintain law and order is purely the responsibility of the state government, and Mamata Banerjee has purely failed on that front. Yes, Shubhankar.
Well, as Mr. Tathagat I was hearing him, though Mr. Tathagat has left the party, but it seems that a bit of that rhetoric still remains with him. But at the same time, let me answer it way again and again that is being raised. Number one, I will say that the police and the law and order comes under the state ambit. So no doubt about it, I accept it. But having said that, Mr. Tathagat, before leaving the channel, he has accepted the complete responsibility of Gujarat and Maharashtra as well as whatever has happened at the UP border. So of course, anything happens in West Bengal, it comes to us, and I'm ready to answer it. Again, the thing is that number one, there has been more than 160 arrests. More than 160 arrests. I just updated myself. There has been more than 160 arrests. 160 arrests, but we are not naming them because so that it shouldn't be given any communal color, which BJP so far has been successful in casting over there. Number two, why is it so that all these cases always arise in the case of Ram Navami, or say, I'm quite afraid that Hanuman Jayanti nearby, and of course we have some intel about it as well. The state might be putting up something out for that. But at the same time, why is it so that it is happening in a state which has been holding most of the Durga Pujas, Kali Pujas, Saraswati Pujas in the state, despite the fact that the processions go through all the areas? There is no one area which doesn't have Durga Puja or Kali Puja or Saraswati Puja. But we don't see any incidences of stone pelting or any law and order situation in that case. So why is it so that all of a sudden we have started maligning the name of Lord Ram? Because we have started using it for political.
No, but you don't consider it as an intelligence failure. You don't consider it as an intelligence failure. Why did you allow that kind of a procession to go through those areas?
It is not an intelligence.
Yes.
It is not an intelligence failure at all, because in any case, if it was an intelligence failure, then there should have been no police or nothing. The only thing is, we didn't take the risk of actually, we didn't, maybe the state government should have done the combing and everything up. We have seen a lot of videos on YouTube and all where they have been actually showing pistols and swords and daggers, all of. See, how come these became a part of a Shobha Yatra, a procession, which is all meant to be for a religious purpose? How do we justify use of weapons and bringing out weapons in the hand of the children who don't even actually understand that why exactly this Shobha Yatra of which they are being a part of it? And they are, we are just watching their mind, for the communal this thing. It is just like if a Muslim is wrong by putting up that jihadi thing into the child's brain, similarly, we are doing the same mistake, we are doing the same wrong, and just for some political benefit. That is what
No.
BJP has been.
No, but which political benefit you're talking about? You're talking about BJP's political benefit, but what about the political benefit sought by Mamata Banerjee? Given the fact that Sagar Dighi was a losing ground for her, and she's trying to regain that ground where she's lost, where she's minority votes.
Now, two questions pops up. Number one, which party can actually dream of coming to the power on basis of only minority votes? Number one. Number two, which party or which ruling party can ever dream of having such kind of law and order situation in the state? Can we get any leverage out of a law and order situation which has cropped up in Bengal? Or let's say, can BJP take any benefit from the law and order situation in Maharashtra or Gujarat? I guess not. And the same thing is over there. It is BJP who tries to portray everything that, okay, they're the cash richest party, they have a lot of expenses they can do just to malign the name of TMC down, because this is the finest ground they have. But the communists, they are fighting their way out.
Okay. I'll come to you, Shubhankar. But Samir, I want to come to you and then go to Uday and Sanjay. Samir, what is the reality? Now, this fresh round of clashes which are reported from Rishra and Serampur, what was the source of this? There was a Ram Navami procession in which Dilip Ghosh and this Pursura MLA, Biman Ghosh, they were present. Was that the source of all the problem? The BJP was trying to weaponize the procession, as what Shubhankar is saying?
See, there is two sides to it. Of course, there is provocation from the BJPs, no denying of that. But the law and order, the state government's failure to anticipate and take preventive measures.
Right.
Like on Ram Navami procession, when this procession is veered off the route, designated route, and took and entered into a minority-dominated areas, why didn't police at the first place barricaded that area and prevented them from going there? Then there were police were visibly outnumbered, clearly outnumbered. Not so. Why there were no adequate presence of police? Those questions are always there. Then even after the incidents, crackdown arrests, very few arrests were made. So
no, but Shubhankar is saying 168 arrests have been made.
150 odd arrests have been made, but these are few and very this thing. And mostly from Howrah areas where the first incident took place, not from Rishra.
Right.
So, and then there is a pattern. If you see the span of violence, Howrah, it's hardly 30 minutes. Then the main motive is to, create a narrative. So in Howrah, there were 30 minutes span of clash, and then we use those video footage and create a narrative that everything is, in Bengal is burning, that kind of narratives, and Hindus khatre mein hai. Similarly, in Rishra on Monday, the span of violence was initially just 15-20 minutes. Then there was peace. And then last night, from 10 p.m., again 10 p.m. to 3 around 1 a.m. in the morning, there were some stone peltings for 1.5 hours of stone pelting. Then, which damaged the rail gate, for which the train movement was suspended till
But Samir,
1
if I
a.m.
can interrupt you, is it true that the internet services have been suspended, the train services were halted for a few hours, and that's where the problem began?
No, internet services in Rishra was suspended. And train services was for some time, from, as I said, from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. It was suspended, and initially because of stone pelting and some petrol bombs were hurled. There were clashes between police and a mob, uh, and then which had damaged the railway gate, and for which even after the situation was normalized, for another 1 hour or so, the train had to be train services had to be remain suspended for restoration of gate and all. So basically, what I'm saying is,
you are saying that BJP provoked, and then Trinamool Congress couldn't handle the law and order.
exactly. And then
Okay.
there is a perception battle going on here. The entire idea is to create a perception. This it's not that as somebody is trying to claim that there is a total collapse of law and order machinery, and the situation is out of control. Even today, now Risra is almost back to normalcy. But now and then, just few hours ago, BJP MP Loket Chatterjee wanted to go there, and despite 144 is clamped there, she wanted to enter. So that kind of constant provocation will be there. And I think even TMC should have anticipated this thing. BJP will do this. This is part of their politics, and
Right.
they will do it. But
So,
what is the counter to it? The Trinamool has totally failed to prevent this kind of
absolutely.
incidents.
Right. So questions, of course, will be asked as to why Trinamool has not been able to put out an effective counter, why they have failed on the law and order front. But Sanjay Rana, I'm going to come to you now. Why is BJP forced to provoke? Is BJP not confident? Throughout the country, BJP is raising slogans that we are confident that the people are with us. 80% of the janta is with you. Then also you have the need to provoke the people. Why is that happening? Can't BJP survive without provoking the people, without brandishing the swords, without brandishing the weapons in religious processions? Is BJP not to be blamed? And you will blame only the Trinamool Congress for failing on the law and order front?
Good evening, Nilwan. Good evening to fellow panelists. I fail to understand what is the provoking. And if BJP is provoking and Trinamool Congress is not able to manage, Trinamool government is not able to manage, then it's very surprising that they do not have a right to be a part of the government. Number one. Number two, when you talk about the any position, why it's not happening first time, it's happening from last couple of years. And we had monitored, look at your Durga Puja, look at your Lakshmi Puja, look at your Hanuman Jayanti, Ram Navami, look at your Saraswati Puja. Every time things are happening. Why it's happening? Obviously, it's a failure of the law and order. And how can somebody who's the chief minister of that particular state made the statement that this location is sensitive area? What do we mean by sensitive? We are part of India, and everyone has a right to go anywhere they want to go. What is sensitive? Are we dividing our country into parts? Obviously, partition happened in 1947, and after that, obviously, it's a one India, and everyone, whosoever the believer,
Does that give a license to BJP to provoke anywhere you want and you create a communal atmosphere? Does that give that license to BJP?
Let me finish, then I'll come to your point. Okay. What I was saying that giving a license, where you asked the question, giving license to provoking. If you think that BJP is provoking and they are able to do do this activity and create a chaos within a state, then again I'm going to say that it's better to have BJP as a government, because the government who's running the show is not able to manage the state. Means it's absolutely failure of law and order. And when you talk about the people, those who are going in Ram Navami position, obviously they were carrying a weapon. Obviously, if they're carrying a weapon, where the police were and what they were doing, why they have not arrested the people, those who are carrying a weapon, whatever the kind of weapon. I'm not talking about any A123 weapon, any kind of weapon. Obviously, police has a right to catch hold these people and put behind the bar, but they are not doing it. And why it's happening every time on Hindu festival? Everyone has the right to do it, and you have seen where you are living in Noida. We are living in Noida. Obviously, Muslims are celebrating Ramzan. Muslims are celebrating other activity. None of the guys are throwing a stone
You are saying that the
on any of the.
You are saying that for creating this communal atmosphere, TMC is responsible. Is that what you're saying?
Whosoever responsible, but law and order situation is absolutely TMC responsible for the same. If I am again saying, if they are failed, whether it's a Bihar, whether it's a West Bengal or any state where the government has failed to manage this kind of situation, then these governments do not have a right to be there.
So Sanjay, from what you're saying, that all questions should be asked from the Trinamool Congress, but not to BJP as to why you people are provoking.
Now, where's the provocation? I fail to understand. I have not seen any provocation anywhere. Any of the leaders are going and making a slogan that kill Muslims. Okay. No, I have not seen.
Let me just get in Samir here. Samir is going to give you the on-ground situation. Samir, Sanjay says that there was no provocation from the side of BJP. Can you just effectively counter that, please?
As I said, it's a narrative. First of all, the honorable the member in the panel, he said that every Hindu festivals are get targeted. Disrupted here.
Yes,
so this is a blatant lie. Sorry to say this. So this kind of narrative they try to push.
No, Samir, I'm not buying.
Sanjay, let him speak. I'll come to you, please. Yes.
There in Bengal, there are puja committees where Muslims are actually general secretaries, presidents. This is the tradition. And there is a famous Durga Puja in Chetla. Many of us know, and I think those in the panel also know. And the main organizer is a TMC Muslim leader, Bobby Firad Hakim. So this is the kind of narrative, and then the build up around the Ram Navami which are created. A senior BJP leader, Dilip Ghosh, has famously said the battle in Bengal is now between Ramzada and Haramzada. So this kind of, if this is not provocation, then what is provocation? I don't know. This time,
yeah.
This
can
time,
I counter?
This time,
Nilu, your I think spokesperson, I don't know who's that guy. I think he's a reporter from the ground. He's categorically mentioned that so many Muslims people are the member of the puja committee. Member of the puja committee is not giving a clean sheet of any community or any society, simple as that. Number one. Number two, when you're talking about the provocation is creating a chaos within the ecosystem. And if BJP, if so-called, as you mentioned, that BJP is creating a provocation and creating a chaos in the ecosystem, then what the government is doing, where their intelligence are, why are not able to handle it? That's a question should be asked to these people. And if they are, if they are so much powerful.
Sanjay, you made your point. Sanjay, you made your
point.
Another
10 seconds.
Complete your point.
If you think that BJP is so powerful and they can do anything and they create a chaos within a state, then obviously the BJP should come into the power. The people will live in peaceful society.
You are provoking.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not provoking. I'm just saying, as per your view, as per your reporters' viewpoint, people are provoking. BJP people are provoking. Do you have any video? Do you have anything which shows that the BJP people are provoking and creating a no?
Okay, let Samir respond. Yes, Samir, and then I go to yes.
So this time when they deliberately, when the route was finalized and charted out, the Muslim.
No, how can you define? Why you define the route?
Sanjay, please.
Why route would not be?
Why you want to create a new country in the nation?
You are bringing out processions.
Allow him to speak, please.
Swords, lathis, and all, and you want that the route should not be designated. They can just go here and there, create traffic chaos.
This is India or Pakistan. This is India or Pakistan.
Okay, sir.
Everyone has the right.
We have a lawyer on the panel. Please allow.
This is not the question of India.
Go to the lawyer, please.
This is the question of law and order. in a democratic
No,
country,
you,
you
no,
cannot
no, no,
just
no. Democratic country,
Sanjay,
the
please hold your. No,
elected
no,
chief
Sanjay,
minister will
hold
say,
your thoughts.
do
I'll come
not
to
go
you
in,
later.
go not
Sanjay,
go
please
to
hold
a
your
Muslim
thoughts.
community
this way a
area.
country cannot,
Okay,
this
No,
Samir,
way
no, it doesn't
calm
work
down.
like this.
banana
Samir, calm
republic, not
down.
It's not
Samir,
a
calm
banana
down.
republic.
Samir,
this
calm
This is
down.
way
not a
it
Sanjay,
banana.
is a
please
banana
hold
Samir,
your
republic.
thoughts.
Samir, this is
Sanjay,
okay.
Sanjay, please. I want to go to Uday Singh now. Uday Singh is the lawyer who has
Just
recently come out with a
just
report.
let me this thing just made my point about this recent incident. See, first of all, these organizers and police, they sat together and decided a route. The organizers should have abided by that route which was finalized, designated. Why they suddenly took a different route? What was the
Okay,
intention?
okay, Samir. I got your point, but let me go to Uday now. Uday recently has written a report which is titled as Roots of Wrath, Weaponizing Religious Processions, Communal Violence During Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti. Now, the entire source of all the problem, Uday, it really seems, is the manner in which the routes are charted out for these religious processions. What do you think should be done? According to what Sanjay says, and also according to this recent plea, which has been a petition which has been filed in the Supreme Court yesterday, saying that you cannot disallow the Hindu communities from going into the minority areas because it is a democratic country. Every
Yes.
religion has a right to go into whichever area they want. Now, what would you really say to this? This petition has been filed. I'll just tell you, this petition has been filed by a Lucknow-based NGO, and its name is Hindu Front for Justice. They have filed a plea in the Supreme Court. They are saying that there is a tendency to disallow the Hindu religious processions in the Muslim-dominated areas. They have sought compensation, that if there is injury, there's violence, people should be compensated. Now, what would you really say to this, Uday?
So let me just say this. There is a lot of shouting and screaming about in a democratic and what Muslim area. It's not so. There is no procession whatsoever which is allowed to go in any state under the local state acts as well as under the rules which are followed without getting prior police permission. Police permissions are always given subject to particular routes. The police, right from as I pointed out in my report, right from 1860 when the Indian Penal Code was enacted, there are specific provisions even in section 188 of the Indian Penal Code which say that if a person violates a route which is laid down by the police for a religious procession and it results in riot, then that will amount to an offense under 188 leading to 2 years imprisonment, etc. So this is not something new. This is not something new. Now, in the gentleman from BJP was saying that in Noida, we're in Noida, we know we can take a procession anywhere. Not so. In Delhi, you know that it is only at the Jantar Mantar that you can hold any meetings. There's specific routes, specific places. Similarly with Noida, similarly with Lucknow, similarly with Allahabad, similarly with every single city in the country. Now that's number one. There is no such thing as a freedom that you can go anywhere. Number two, Article 19(1)(b), which protects the fundamental right to assemble and to take out processions, specifically says without arms, without bearing arms. So the question of any procession, number one, now these organizers of all these processions, I dare say in Howrah or in Hooghly or anywhere else, would have given written undertakings to the police that they will ensure that there is no deviation from the route. Now, if they have deviated from the route, the organizers are responsible for that. And I agree entirely with all the panelists, including the BJP panelists, that if somebody has violated the routes or violated the undertakings or taken arms when they have not allowed to take arms, action should be taken against them and criminal action should be taken against them. Even the learned BJP member said that. Now, let me just tell you, every single religious riot, and we are talking about riots which have led to loss of hundreds of lives, 900 lives in one case in Bhagalpur, 180 lives in Jamshedpur, etc., etc. Every single riot which has resulted from a religious procession, and we have had a series of them, and these are documented by the Home Ministry through the National Commission for Communal Harmony, which is a department under it's autonomous body under the Home Ministry. It is documented that every single riot, because earlier there used to be commissions of inquiry after all these riots, and almost every one of them, whether it was 1967 Solapur, whether it was Bhiwandi, Jalgaon and Mahad in 1970, whether it was Jamshedpur in 1979, whether it was Kota in 1989, whether it was Bhagalpur in 1989, whether it was and so on. Each one of them, the Commission of Inquiry has found that it was because of deviation from the route and not sticking to the route, or carrying of arms and not proceeding with their undertakings, that the riots took place. Now, when the learned panelist says that where is the proof of the provocation, it is now very well documented, and here there are videos. I have seen some on YouTube myself. These processions are not only deviate from the route, they deviate. This is during the period of Ramzan. They go at a time when they know that the last namaz of the day is taking place and the people are going to come out of the mosque. They go and park themselves in front of the mosque and they give incendiary speeches, and they have DJs, they have loud music, they carry gigantic amplifiers, which are of concert size amplifiers and speakers on flatbed trucks, and they blast absolutely vituperative music with foul and highly objectionable, highly incendiary music, which is aimed at the minority community. What your report was saying about the tip of the iceberg, that is nothing. That is nothing compared to the actual music. And I see the BJP member raising his finger, but he will allow me to finish. Let him say whether he can say categorically that music was not played over there, because I have seen it on YouTube. And let him say that objectionable slogans were not shouted out over there. Don't just give general statement that I have a right to go anywhere. You do not have a right to go anywhere. Now the sad thing is we are seeing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deaths. Last year there were several deaths which took place, and they were all. My report is not based on this year. My report was based on Ram Navami and Hanuman Jayanti processions of 2022, because it took a lot of research and a lot of details. I think it took several months to collate everything. So each one of those processions were armed. They were heavily armed. They all went through and they all parked themselves in front of the main mosque of the town.
Allow me to interrupt you. Allow me to interrupt you before I go to Sanjay for his response. But is it not time that we decide, or legally everything should be decided, to do away with weaponizing of these religious processions? Because as long as, or just disallow the loudspeakers, disallow the.
Let me just answer. It is the conditions are laid down under the Police Acts, and the conditions are laid down when the permissions are given. Now, last year we had in 9 states we had very serious incidents. In 3 states we had lesser incidents. I've documented all those 12. But in the 13th state, in Telangana, despite several very strong Hindu organizations which demanded particular routes in Hyderabad, in Bhensa town, and other places, Bhensa town has had several communal incidents. The permissions were given on specific routes in Hyderabad. The Commissioner of Police laid down 23 conditions in a 24-para order. He laid down 23 conditions and he gave very specific routes. And he said all processions will go only on that route. Right. This was challenged before the Telangana High Court. Bhensa town, they refused the permission because the administration took a view that there had been big communal incidents in the previous 2 years, and so they refused permission. This was also challenged before the High Court. Justice Lalita Kaniganti of the Telangana High Court said that it's a constitutional right to have a procession. Exactly what the BJP gentleman is saying. It is a constitutional right to have a procession, but she said there is no right to choose any route of your choice. Number one, there is no right to carry weapons, and there is no right to shout objectionable slogans. So the 23 conditions laid down in Hyderabad were also laid down for Bhensa and other places. As a result, though there were massive processions of tens of thousands of people in Hyderabad as well as in Bhensa, there was not a single incident. At Ram Navami and at Hanuman Jayanti last year, there was not a single incident. So, if a state wants to control it, they can control it. Trinamool Congress, if they want to control it, they should have controlled it. I'm not saying that that they get a clean sheet here. But the provocateur, the agent provocateur in all this is definitely the Hindutva groups which are doing this. And it is definitely a failure of an administration if they are not able to cope with it. They should have laid down strict conditions. They should have prevented any deviation from that condition, and they should have put everybody behind bars who deviated and violated the conditions. That's the long and short of it. It can be done. It was done in Telangana, and it is done every year in my city of Mumbai. We have the most gigantic processions for Ganesh Chaturthi, which go on for 10 days. We have processions for every single major religious festival, not just of Hindus, but others also. You never have any incidents in Mumbai. You never have incidents because the police implements it.
Uday, you've explained all this in black and white, and now I want to go to Sanjay. That Sanjay, you say that you have the constitutional right to, take out the processions in whichever area you want, but you are deviating from the rules. You are brandishing weapons. Is all that not a violation? Why are you not talking about the way you have violated the fringe elements of BJP or whichever elements are these?
Yeah, coming to the point.
terms.
I said it's my constitutional right to do the petition and do my. To follow my beliefs. It's simple as that. No one can stop me. Number one. Number two, when we talk of the route or whatever that is defined by the commissioner of the police or the police, whoever is there, it's police duty to make sure that people are following in line. It's whose duty is. If people are going from designated route to another route, who's responsible for the same? I agree. Maybe
moral high ground.
No,
moral high ground saying that it's a complete law.
Hear me out. In the petition, there was the BJP leaders. There were the BJP leaders who were leading. No, they were not the BJP leaders who were leading. It was a general Hindu.
No. In Rishra, there are reports. Sanjay, in Rishra and Serampur, there are reports that BJP National Vice President Dilip Ghosh, along with Pursura MLA Biman Ghosh, were present. Why were they present? Why were they present?
They cannot present there. They violated the routes. They have changed the route. Do you have any proof for the date? Do you have any reporting from the cell?
I mean,
no more. Hang on. First of all,
let me get in the answer immediately.
Nilu, you're not allowing.
I'll come back to you.
Nilu. Let me finish my point, which Mr. Advocate has been raised.
No. I'll come back to you. Sanjay, no, we have to get answers here, please.
No. You're not allowing me to speak.
Sanjay, I will allow you to speak.
Ask him whether people are diverted the route.
Sanjay, allow me. I'm the moderator. I'm supposed to be asking the questions. Yes. Samir, were there deviations on this route?
And show me the proof.
Sanjay, please. Yes, Samir.
Yeah, on the Rishra procession, which BJP leaders took out, it was there was no deviation of the route in Rishra.
See the answer.
Okay. Wait, let me finish.
Hear him out. I'll come to you again.
Yeah, but that procession was taken out after the Ram Navami was over. So what prompted them to bring out a procession and that too in a minority dominated area? It's obvious. There you don't need to be some kind of expert to guess it.
Right.
Done? Can I?
But having said that, as I have pointed out earlier, Trinamool cannot absolve its responsibility because Trinamool should have, the state administration should have anticipated this thing will happen because this is going on since 2016-17. So they should have anticipated this thing will happen and they should have taken adequate.
Yes. Now, Sanjay, now let Sanjay respond and then I'll go to Shubhankar. Okay. Yes, Sanjay.
Thank you.
Just a moment. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I need to leave. If you'll excuse me, I need to leave. I don't need to be here.
I want to do there.
No.
2 minutes.
Just one last question to
Yeah.
Uday. I know Uday has to leave, so I have one last question to Uday. That Uday, this particular plea which has been filed in the Supreme Court, where they are saying that you cannot disallow the Hindu processions to be carried out in minority-dominated areas. Now, will this kind of a plea be admitted, or has it been admitted? I want to know on this front. This particular Lucknow NGO which has filed.
As far as I'm aware, it's not been admitted, but it's not my job to predict, what the Supreme Court can do or not do. I appear over there. I argue my cases. Some of the time we succeed, some of the time we don't succeed.
No, but
So,
legally speaking,
but
is it on a stronger way? Is the
I-
plea on a strong wicket?
no, I don't think. I think this plea runs against the development of the law on this subject. There are several judgments, including in the Togadia's case. There's a very detailed judgment of the Supreme Court in 1993, which held that you can't demand a particular route, etc. So there, in Praveen Togadia's case, there are umpteen commissions of inquiry. As I said, not one, not two, but at least about 15 commissions of inquiry, which are headed by sitting and retired judges, which have found this to be the most volatile thing. So I doubt very much if it would get traction, but I can't predict, what the Supreme Court might ultimately do.
Okay. Thank you, Uday. I'll allow you to leave if you want to. And now I'll come
Thank
to
you.
I
Thank you
want
very much.
Mr. Uday to be, I
Thank
want
you.
Mr. Uday to be there for next 2 minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll wait.
Please.
I'll wait.
Yes,
I
Sanjay,
appreciate.
what's the point?
I
Yes.
appreciate.
Yes,
I
Sanjay.
was listening very carefully to Mr. Uday, and he made the statement that people are standing in front of the masjid or going in front of the masjid and making slogans. I cannot understand. We can go and stand in front of the masjid, or we can go, Muslim can go stand in front of a temple. Obviously, we should not provoke. We should not make any wrong statement or provoke or any kind of slogans about the particular community. We can do, but we cannot stop anyone to pass that route because somebody is Ramjan is going on. Doesn't matter, Ramjan is going on. They have a different belief. We have a different belief. We need to follow our beliefs with the respect. Obviously, we have to respect other as well. So I'm not going the point which you said that people cannot pass the road where the masjids are there. Number one, as far as the routes are concerned, obviously defined by the administrator, not defined by anyone. Obviously, administrator is going to define the route, and people has to follow. If we people are not following the rules, obviously police has to punish to the community, or I would say the gang, or I would say that whosoever is leading that particular position activity. So again, when Mr. Samir, what's the name of the gentleman? Samir made the statement that you cannot go to minority area. Please understand. Suppose I'm living somewhere and there majority is Muslims are in majority. Doesn't mean that I will not able to do the puja. I will not go to temple. I'm not allowed to do my kirtan and bhajan. No, it's not. It's absolutely not acceptable under the law.
No, I didn't say that you cannot go to that areas.
No.
Nobody is disallowing you. You have made your point. But the point, nobody is disallowing you from carrying out the procession. The problem is that you are violating the norms. You are brandishing swords. You are weaponizing the procession. You are provoking. That's where the problem is.
Nelu, can I'm not yet finished. I asked for the 2 minutes. You're not allowing me continue 2 minutes to speak on my point. As I said, you pointed out that BJP leaders were there. I asked you the question, counter question. Did they? Obviously, they have not followed the rules. Your reporter said yes, they follow the rules. Number one. Number two, whose responsibility is a police responsibility to take care of any position. If they are doing anything wrong, they have to take the action. Why they are not taking action? And how can you say that majority you cannot cross any minority route, minority place? You can go. Obviously, if it is not designated, it's not defined by the local authority, you will not pass that area. But absolutely not acceptable that you cannot celebrate your festival because somebody else festival is going on.
You can celebrate, but you also provoke. Okay, now let me go to Shubhankar. I'm really running short of time because I have to end the program. Yeah. Shubhankar, the whole point is that Mamata Banerjee government.
Thank you, Vinodji. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Uday. But Shubhankar, I want to ask you that what is the problem? Why Mamata Banerjee government has not been able to contain this lawlessness?
Well, thank you, Nidhi. And if Chandrodayji is there, a lot of thanks to him because it was quite helpful in bringing out a lot of facts in the forefront. See, in the meanwhile, it has been long since I was mum. I was searching on the net, and I think it's hub.com, which clearly shows, see, the procession trying to put the flags at the mosque. See, so these kind of photos are now, this kind of pics are now coming up, exposing the fact that what exactly the provocation means. Number one. Number two, as Mr. Sanjay said, that we have a constitutional right. I completely agree with him. But then I should ask that what stops them to permit a Muharram Tazia procession to go out, to come out in front of the Ram Lalla Mandir Marg in Ayodhya. The procession permission is never given out over there. Why? Why don't you give it over there? See,
Is that an answer? Is that an answer to the problem? Why Mamata Banerjee has failed?
No. I'm absolutely not running away from the question that the thing that has happened in the West Bengal, it is not a responsibility. It was very much of a responsibility, and I do accept there has been a certain level of intelligence failure. It might be whatever the failure has been, but while you point the finger to us, you are actually pointing three fingers to yourself, Mr. Sanjay, because you are forgetting that there has been a mob issue, there has been a law and order issue in Gujarat, in Maharashtra, and of course in UP as well. So you also cannot run away from the same responsibilities that you are pointing fingers towards us.
Okay.
When you say that the things have come up over there, right, and your lawlessness, the way you have provoked the lawlessness in those states where basically you don't have your party and government, so this has been your idea of projecting that particular government is a failure. You have been continuously conspiring against Aam Aadmi Party, the Trinamool, or any other XYZ party.
Okay. I'm not getting into any blame game. I have to get the final answer from Samir. I'm really running short of time. Samir, so it looks like a game which is being played by Trinamool. It is a game being played by BJP, which is purely for political gains. I want your last comments on this on the program.
Yeah, and this administrative failure, it's just not this is not just mere law and order failing to prevent law and order, because it seems there is no will to tackle the situation. On the second day after Ram Navami, why in the first place Dilip Ghosh was allowed to bring out a procession? Yes. Ram Navami was over. So basic problem is that Trinamool is now trying to go with is in some sort of dilemma. They want to please the Hindus as well as the Muslims, so right. They can't it's a kind of that kind of situation. They want to have the cake and eat it too, and that is preventing them from taking action.
Right. Okay, fine. So now all eyes would be on what happens on Hanuman Jayanti. Remember last year, in fact, during Hanuman Jayanti, there were so many reports about violence and firing and arson. I think 2 days from now, we have Hanuman Jayanti. So we'll have to wait and watch as to how the situation unfolds, specifically in West Bengal, and also as to how the situation will be across the country. Thank you so much, Sanjay Rana, Acharya, Samir. Thank you so much for joining. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more interesting updates.